Hello, everyone, and welcome to another new episode of Psychological Theatre. And today I would like to talk about something very interesting and at the same time something a bit complex to understand, and that is an aspect of time. Time itself is quite tricky to understand. There are many theories about time which we have given, and the aspect I would like to touch today is something about the concept of past and future. And I would like to start by mentioning that the past and the future are never disconnected, in a sense. They exist as couples, and the past comes from our experience that we live every day, and on the basis of that experience we create memories, and then that memories become our experience, which is stored in the brain, and then that is what we call the past of our lives. And we can recall it, we can talk about it, we can discuss it, and all the other things. And the future is then what we project about the future of our lives. For example, like if I will pass some exam tomorrow, if I will have a nice date tomorrow with some person, or will I be the next president, will I be something, whatever is the importance. But one key thing that has to be observed here is that whatever you think about the future, okay, the only thing which exists about the future right now is the thought, because the future has not arrived yet. So at the moment what we can only do is just project a future, just hope for a future according to us. So all this projection, if you would see, if you would observe it, that all future is actually projected, planned, hoped on the basis of the past. If there is no element coming from the past, then you have no way of projecting a future. For example, who you are, your identity, is coming from the past. Your identity is standing on the shoulders of the past, because when someone asks, who are you? Then you have to give the information about yourself, which is the past. Your name was given many years ago. Your nationality, you were born many years ago. Your experience have happened over the years, and all these things are from the past. And you say all this collection of experience, knowledge is me, and I call myself this and whatever. So you can see, when you think about your future, you already are the past, in a sense, because your whole identity is coming from how you have lived, how your life experience has been. So the past is giving you your identity, and then using that identity you hope for a future. A politician doesn't hope to be the principal of a school because he's in politics. That's how his past and background is. So his whole hope and projection of the future is about politics, and vice versa. So you have to see this very carefully, that every time you project a future, every time you think about the future, you have to use, or you have to do it using the past. You need to stand on the past, and on the basis of that past you project the future. And this is something which is very important to see, because we in general think that future is something which is independent. It exists by itself and it will come. But actually, it is not something like that. Even if you look at matter, even the matter behaves according to its past. Okay, matter behaves according to how it has already been, and then it behaves according to that. And okay, I put it more simply that the only reason we can predict something in the universe, for example, we predict how the moon is moving, we predict how the planet Jupiter is moving, is because we have studied Jupiter's past. Okay, and in studying that past, we have seen how the past information helps us in predicting the future of the Jupiter or the sun or the moon or anything in the universe. Okay, so essentially, even for matter, the future of matter is dependent on how it has already been, what has been its past. So essentially, we can say that future is only and only projected from the past, and only in terms of matter as well, how the past has been will decide how the future will be. If in the past a planet has been a gaseous planet, in future there are less chances that it will become a planet which has surface, for example. Okay, and in the same way, if sun is burning its fuel at some rate which the scientists know, that's how they predict the age of the sun, then because we know that that's how the sun functions and that's how the past of the sun has shown us that this is how the sun is working, we predict the future about the sun. So even in matter, the future is not predicted or projected or even happens without the past. So we have to see this very carefully, that only past has a future. So if you see something, if you meet something which doesn't have a past, okay, I don't think we have ever seen something like this as humans. Most things we see are matter in the material world, and all matter has a past. Okay, the whole universe has an age. It means the universe has a past. And then to talk of something which doesn't have a past is something unusual, and it's something the mind cannot understand quite easily, because the mind understands the concept of time quite nicely because it has lived in time for a long time. So I would say that if something doesn't have a past, then it also doesn't have a future, because there is no information to make the future or to project the future from the past. So essentially what I'm indicating is that you can have the present as part of the cycle of past, present and future, which is the cycle of time. So you can call something that this is the present inside the cycle of time, or you could say that if the past doesn't exist, then the future doesn't exist. Then what's left is only the present. But now this present is not in the cycle of time, because this present has no time. It doesn't have a past, it doesn't have a future. So in the universe, we only see actions and movements which have the past and which have a future and everything, which is why we say the universe is in time and everything. But is it possible to find an action, to find something which is not in the flow of time, which doesn't have a past, so as to say? And because it doesn't have a past, you cannot project a future for it. So try to find this action, try to find this something new which might not have a past. And the easiest way to look for it is to look it inside yourself, because you are available most easily to yourself. Okay, So maybe try to find it in your own mind. Is it possible for the past to be absolutely quiet? The moment the past becomes absolutely quiet in your mind, the creation of future also stops. When the past is active in your mind, then the mind naturally also calculates or projects a future about it, because then the mind wants to take care of whatever it is. For example, let's say I have an audition to be a musician tomorrow in Berkeley School of Music, really respectable school, and I know that my past has been a musician, whatever, let's say a pianist, and I have the pressure of all the past, of all those hours of hard work that I've put into in becoming a pianist. And that's why when that whole movement of the past is active, when that whole movement of the past is functioning, the mind naturally also thinks about the future regarding that specific thing. So if I think I have done so much work and this, then my mind will naturally also think, how will it go tomorrow with my audition? Okay, so, and it can be applied anywhere. So what happens when the mind thinks of the future is something of a different topic I would like to discuss in some other video. But at the moment, I would just ask you to check that, can the mind keep the past totally quiet? Because in doing so, the movement towards the present also stops. The movement towards the future also stops. Because your mind has to use the past to project the future in certain way. So I would say you have to try it. I would say you have to check it if it's possible. The moment the mind becomes free of the past, it also becomes free of the future. And then what's left is what we want to look at. It's what we want to investigate, so as to say. Until the mind is playing with the past, it's also projecting the future, and it's also polluting, so as to say, the present in doing this whole movement of time. But if you would look at it as the law, as you say, as the law of conservation, which is like mass is conserved, energy is conserved. In the same way, I feel that somehow even time is conserved, in the sense that the past and the future always exist together. They cannot exist independently. And when they exist together as a pair, then they can be looked at as something which are acting as a conservation pair. The past and the future kind of cancel each other, and then conservation remains, so as to say, as it happens in physics. I'm sorry for the technicality of my language. And but in simple terms, try to do this with your own self, that you remove or you quieten the past in your mind. And as you do it, you would see that the movement of the mind towards the future also stops, because the mind doesn't have anything to work on from the past on which it can make a future. And then you would see a strange new state remains in you. This strange new state is the present, which is free of time. It's not the present which is in time. I would like to stress it again. There is a present which is in time. I'm not talking of that. I'm talking of the present which is not in time, because it's free of the past and the future. But this state can only be lived is maybe the wrong word, lived, if the mind is free of the past, if the mind stops moving in the past with the past information. And then you would see that the moment mind stops moving in the past information, it also stops going into the future. They are together, actually. This is like it's like a wedding between past and future, a conservation principle, so as to say. It doesn't matter how you put it. So you have to try it to see it. Don't take it as my word. And it's very easy to try it whenever you're free in the evening or in the morning. And try if you can keep the past quiet, and let's see how it goes. So thanks again for staying on the channel, and if you have any questions, I would be very happy to answer them. Please write to me in the comments. That's all for today. Thank you.